All right. After you buy, you're a seller. What does that mean? Well, after you buy to get long, you now become what? To exit that long position. You become a seller. So if you're long and everybody else in the marketplace is long, there's a lot of sellers coming. Remember, don't forget that a market is a market. If a lot of houses go up for sale in your subdivision, is it easier to predict the direction of homes? Yes, because you're anticipating those signs being sellers. Your job as a trader is predicting where price is going to go to next, which means you have to predict when sellers and buyers are going to come to the market, not necessarily after they already get filled. When a seller comes in and gets filled, okay, that's important, but not as important as him not getting filled, because that's going to give more probability at lower prices, and that's what you're trying to predict. So think about this for a second. When 200 contracts come in and sell and they get filled, right? It's almost like potentially wasting some good selling because they were able to shake hands with buyers and they got filled. If I'm short and I want and think price is going to go lower, I don't like to waste that selling. I'd rather that selling try to come in and not get filled, right? So it's really important to know the difference. After you buy it, you're a seller means one thing, and it means, let me turn this guy off. Hold on a second. All right, back. So after you buy it, you're a seller. You have to anticipate when the selling is going to come in and not waste some good selling if you want price to go down. There's a difference, right? So on the whiteboard you guys are watching or should be watching, let's just look at two things, two words that I think people familiarize themselves with early on in their trading journey. And those words are what? Support and resistance. All right. Resistance is generally above where price is currently, and support would be where price is, or a level below where price is. So if price is right here above its resistance, below its support. Now, most people, like I said, will become familiar with those two words and what those mean early on in their trading journey. That's where all the spider web splits from there. And what I mean by that is that's when people come up with different reasons and rationale to create their own support resistance prices or areas. What resistance means is generally, if you look at the whiteboard, where do you think price is going to go up to, stop, and then go back the other way? Therefore, being opportunity to help do what? Predict price. Remember, that's a job of a trader. Resistance, in this case, you might come up with the reason for that price or area to be resistance for dozens of different reasons. All right. However, the best reason to come up with a resistance level is the same reason as to why it would work in the first place. If you don't know why resistance is going to work when it works, then you're never going to give yourself to come up with the best chance to have good resistance levels. So the whole notion of after you buy it, you're a seller is the whole point. You want people long and trapped long in a tight area, and then that becomes your resistance. So go back to the whiteboard. The reason why resistance would work in this case is because you're getting a lot of people long and trapped. So when price was down in here, all these longs had a very unhappy face. What are longs? We've already established that after you buy it to get long, you're a seller, right? So these longs are now sellers. What do you need for resistance to work? Sellers. What do you need for price to go, stop, and maybe go the other way? Sellers. But what kind of sellers? Not only just sellers, but sellers who are trying to cover a long position, so they have to sell it. There's a difference. When you have to do something, you're more emotional. So if price comes up to an area that you deem to be resistance, this dynamic almost has to be a play for resistance to work, where you get sellers who have to sell it, and being trapped long is a really good reason and a popular reason why they would have to sell it. So if you get a lot of trap longs in a particular area, there's a high probability the price is going to have trouble going through there. It's going to stop, turn, and go the other way for you to be able to qualify a short position. You don't want to be long when there's too many other people long. That's considered a crowded trade, but the dynamic of why that would unwind and why you don't want to be long or be in a crowded trade. The reason why that's a saying is because if too many people are long, then too many people have to compete to do what? To sell it. So after you buy, you're a seller is what that means. And the reason why I keep bringing that up is that's one of the more popular sayings I've said that have brought people to our group. Is they never heard it that way. They never understood it explained that way. And it's a very important premise and one of the top rules in understanding trading. And yet so many people are risking their own money without understanding that premise of after you buy it, you're a seller. After you're long, you now have to sell to cover. And the whole reason and what makes good resistance is because of that dynamic being at play. If you don't understand it that way, like the back of your hand, go become a plumber.